Hey, what's up everybody, Shadow here, welcome back to another video, glad you guys could stop by. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 2016 and what it has had to offer for the players. So far, 2016 has been a crazy year and we've seen a lot of cool games come out. For instance, just off the top of my head, we've seen Destiny Rise of Iron. It's been a crazy, solid expansion, and even Overwatch, which has quickly become a must-have for both console players and PC players alike. Now, with these two games only making up a small fraction of the massive number of games that have come out in 2016, we have yet to see the full completed versions of games such as Call of Duty, Titanfall, and Battlefield. Well, you know, except for the people who bought the early enlister version of Battlefield, they got it yesterday, but we're not talking about those people. Regardless of that, it is the end of 2016. We are just around the corner. It's about to be 2017, and most of us players are finally going to get our hands on the latest AAA titles that are coming out. Now, the only problem is most of us don't have all of that money to throw into every single corporate owner's pockets. We only have so much money and we have to spend it wisely. And that's what I hope to accomplish in this video. In today's video, we are going to be discussing all these games and doing a bit of a buyer's guide on which games that you should get between Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Let me just preface this real quick before we start the video. I'm going to be talking strictly about raw gameplay, and that's what I'll be rating it on. Of course, I'll include my own personal experience, like how the beta was, how connectivity was. I'm going to be talking about that type of stuff, but I'm purely going to give my honest opinion to you guys based on the core gameplay. And also, fortunately, all three of these games have had either a tech test or an open beta that we've been able to participate to if you play on console or PC, more specifically console, because PC didn't get Titanfall 2. But anyway, I've been able to participate in all of these, and I've spent many hours on all three of these, and I feel I'm very qualified to answer the questions on this topic. So without further ado, let's get into it, and let's start with the fan favorite, Battlefield 1. So I'm pretty sure, as everyone knows by now, Battlefield 1 is a World War I era simulation shooter that is made by the company DICE and is built on the Frostbite engine, which, by the way, looks fantastic. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one in saying this, but I believe DICE gets extra bonus points for making their game just look so goddamn good. But we all know that looks aren't everything in a video game. The gameplay is very much like Battlefield 4. The time to kill, however, does feel a little bit higher, which I guess is okay. It just means you have to keep shooting at the enemy a little bit longer to get your kill, which is perfectly fine. Now, like I said, Battlefield 1 is a simulation shooter, and the fact that you can fly tanks and drive planes all over the place and see how many different ways you can kill your enemies with the same gun, and I find that really fun. It makes a good compilation video on YouTube as well. Now, as far as the open beta goes, I played on both PS4 and PC, and during my time on both of those games, I found very little game-breaking bugs. Every now and then the game crashed, and every now and then I couldn't find a match, but it's a lot less often than another game on this list that we'll talk about later. Another interesting thing I found about Battlefield 1 is that not only is there Levolution where you can destroy buildings, but there's also Weatherlution, and the fact that every single game that you spawn into, there will be a different climate change. So for instance, the map that we played, which was the Sinai Desert, some maps it was perfectly clear, some maps it was night, and then sometimes there was a big dust storm and you couldn't see anything and planes were virtually useless. And if that doesn't classify Battlefield 1 as a simulation shooter, then I don't know what will. I can't really speak much on the single player version of the game because I don't have it. I didn't pay the extra $20 for the early enlister version. I'll have to get back to you on that when it comes out. Now, overall, I think DICE gave the users a very awesome, very fantastic core experience in the multiplayer, and I cannot wait for this game to come out for everyone who didn't buy the extra DLC on Friday. Alright, so we covered Battlefield 1. Let's get into the next EA game, which is Titanfall 2. Now, Titanfall 2 separates itself from Battlefield 1, where Battlefield 1 is in the past, Titanfall 2 is very much in the future. Now, since this franchise is very new and it's really its own genre in some aspects, I'm going to compare it to its predecessor, which is the first Titanfall. Now, some of the reasons why Titanfall fell so bad when the first game came out was the lack of guns that you were able to choose from and how boring the maps were. They didn't really play as well as people would have liked them to. Now, in the time that I spent playing the Titanfall 2 tech test, I found it was very well balanced. The game wasn't too explosive, too Michael Bay-esque. It was very balanced, and the leveling up system and the reward system also very much complemented that. Now, one of the personal problems that I had with the first game, and this was just a bit of a pet peeve, maybe it was just me, but when I got into my Titan and I was going to toe-to-toe with another Titan, I felt like I was just smacking my keyboard and slapping on the mouse a bunch of times just so I could get the first shot off and somehow beat the Titan in the end. I'm happy to say that Titanfall 2 corrected that error, in my opinion, in the time that I played with the Titans. They corrected it and changed it to where there's more of a strategic aspect to it. You're not just slapping the keyboard and just firing rockets and shooting enemies and running up and punching them in the stomach. You're actually using a bit of strategy, which I found very fun. Now, for those of you who want to play the game but don't want to mess with mechs trying to step on you every time, fear not. There is a pilot versus pilot game mode, a 6v6, where you basically square up against other players on a smaller version of a bigger map, which I found a lot of fun. Another very entertaining characteristic of the first Titanfall game was the parkour system, how you could jump into buildings, jump around them, run on the walls, and all that sort of crap. Well, that's in Titanfall 2 as well. And grapple hook. Need I say more? Now with those two first games down, now it's time to get on to the last game, which is Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. As a longtime fan of the Call of Duty series, I had a lot of hope for this game, and even though all of the anti-hype was putting me down a little bit, I still left out a glimmer of hope for Infinite Warfare. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm going to be judging pure gameplay, not necessarily the ability to get into a game or how the beta performed, because if I did, we'd be here for a long time, because I'd probably still be trying to get into the beta. But on the rare chance I was actually able to queue into an Infinite Warfare game and experience it hands-on, it actually played very well. I actually enjoyed the game a lot. I felt it did very well, but also not that well. And I only say this because they copied aspects like the movement system, like the different specialist abilities. They copied that from Black Ops 3, but that's not necessarily a good thing. While I understand that Infinity Ward saw the public's hatred for futuristic Call of Duty games and they wanted desperately to go back, they were too late in the development cycle from what I can think, so they did what is safe and decided to go with the Call of Duty that was doing the best, which was Black Ops 3. However, with that said, we've already been through a full year of Black Ops 3, and I'm pretty sure a lot of players aren't too happy about going through another one. So what I'm saying basically is that Infinite Warfare plays very, very, very closely to the way Black Ops 3 does, and you'll enjoy it if you're not already tired of Black Ops 3. Now, while playing this game, I found a couple cool things. In the video settings on console, there is a way to change the grain of the gameplay, so you're actually able to ensure that you get as high frame rate as possible, which is very nice on a console. They also allowed the ability for the player to choose whether or not sprinting will cancel the reload, which, thank God. I can't tell you how many times I've ran gung-ho as a perk and got screwed over because I wasn't able to sprint to cancel my reload, but thank God they added that option. Now, while they made some very nice changes to the video settings in Infinite Warfare that wasn't present in Black Ops 3, I don't necessarily like the art style that they chose for the game. Infinite Warfare looks very similar to the art style in Ghost, which is very bleak and barren and very few emphasis on colors, where Black Ops 3 was vibrant, colors in your face, and pretty much vomiting rainbows. Now, another thing that I noticed is that there weren't any killer maps in the beta. You know, we have Raid and Terminal, which are some fantastic maps. There weren't any maps like that, which I feel would sort of like draw customers away from it, since there weren't any fantastic maps. They all played sort of box-like and really contained. But, you know, there's always going to be people who are going to get it simply for Modern Warfare, which, you know, if you got money, man, go crazy. Go crazy. I would do the same thing, but I'm poor. I can't do that. And that's my take and my in-depth analysis of the three games, Battlefield, Call of Duty, and Titanfall. Hopefully added some in-depth insight to you if you weren't able to play one of these games, or you wanted a second opinion and compare it to what you thought of the game. Now, if you were personally going to ask me, which game did you like the most, Shadow? Which one would you place first place, second place, and third place? Well, now, you shouldn't listen to my opinion necessarily. You should take the information that I gave you and even some experiences you had yourself and make a final decision on them. But if you were to ask me, I would say the first place goes to Battlefield, second place goes to Titanfall, and third place goes to Call of Duty. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. Let me know what you thought of it. Is there anything that I missed? Please post in the comments for other people to check out, and I will see you guys later. Bye.